Hey guys, Painless in and out, and today I have another story time for you guys about the time I overdosed. Now, I felt it was fitting because I am coming up this month on my 4 years of sobriety off of harsh drugs, and I figured I would talk about the darkest time of struggling with my drug addiction. Um, I wasn't expecting my last video to go over so well, and so many concerns and questions, and just stories relating to it, and how much awareness I'm actually bringing about it. That I felt like I'm just gonna continue on. Like, I'm not a YouTube person, but this seems to be the outlet to do this kind of series on, which is very heartfelt to me because this is something I've truly cared about and truly wanted to educate people for so long. I also wanted to disclaim that I am not in my house right now. I actually did recently move out into my own apartment, which is a story time of its own. I also started a new diet, which I am recovering if you didn't know. And if you look back on my older videos, you will understand why. Like, it's a weird diet, but like, these things will come in time. Also, with my last video, I have tons and tons of ideas for new videos and new things to talk about, new things to educate about, because, I have had a lot of comments that were a little bit concerning, a little bit misunderstanding, and I just kind of figured, might as well just keep recording them. I also wanted to thank you guys so much for educating me about of herbs and altars and their pronouns. A lot of people kind of come at me sideways about that type of thing, and I honestly didn't know. So I'm very happy that you guys, kind of sat me down and told me what is going on. I deeply apologize for messing up their pronouns. This video actually also kind of pertains back to of herbs and altars again with their overdose story of, I think, ketamine it was. So a lot of my videos I feel like are gonna refer back to them just because we're both goth, we both went through eating disorders and drug abuse, except for they're about I want to say 10 years older than me, so I'm kind of talking more from the early 2000s to 2010s experience here. I also, one more thing, want to apologize for whatever is going on with my acne and makeup. And the lighting is kind of strange because it's been storming every day out here, and I really just wanted to get this video recorded finally, and hopefully the lighting will still work with me. And of course, as always, I am going to put a huge disclaimer for trigger warnings of eating disorders, drug abuse. It can be a little bit morbid to people, make people feel uncomfortable, and I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable. So if you're not okay with hearing about those things yet, I advise to just click off this video and find something that makes you healthy. But if not, without further ado, I'm going to talk about the night I overdosed. So grab some water, grab some tea, grab some coffee, grab some soda or diet soda or juice, whatever makes you happy. I know that one was a little bit triggering on my last video. So without further ado, this is about the night I overdosed. Now, before we start this video, I do want to disclaim one more thing, that this video, if you haven't been around addicts or been through addiction or anything like that, it's gonna sound a tiny bit strange. And I'm gonna tell you right now that I would never lie to you guys about my experiences or the things that go on in my life. It's just sometimes we perceive things and understand things a little bit differently. Like, drugs do alter your mind, and I want you guys to understand that this was definitely all from my perspective and completely a true based story about the night this happened. Again, this video pertains back to another of Herbs and Altars video when they uploaded about the time they overdosed on ketamine, I believe it was. And, it's kind of strange to think of, but watching that video made me remember the time I overdosed. When you're on drugs, it kind of alters your mind, obviously, but it could, like, it could make you black out things or not remember things for a very long time. And, even the little weirdest things can make those thoughts come right back, which is exactly what that video did. So the night I overdosed, it was, I believe, either April or May of 2017. If you didn't know from my last video, I was a coke addict. I was doing it every single day, maybe the weekends excluding. but I also found my own way to get to my drugs. It was something that definitely helped me with my weight loss and my anorexia, and I'm not very proud of that. It just started boring, so I hope that doesn't get picked up. I actually wasn't expecting to go on a binger that day. My friend that I actually did the coke with messaged me early in the morning. We were both in beauty school. This is back when I was in beauty school. If you didn't know, I was hardcore struggling with drug addiction and my eating disorders, mainly anorexia. But she messaged me saying, "Hey, like, you want to have fun today?" And you know, me, I'm an addict by genetics. I'm just an addict in general. uh, was like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, I have nothing going on. Like, you know, it's just school. I don't have work going on after school. I didn't have to see my boyfriend back then, which, if you watch my last video, was the anorexic fetish. And, you know, I just said, yeah. So, you know, she comes to school, you know, we go and get it. And, you know, it was just like every other day where, you know, we blew a couple lines, we did some clients, we talked all day, we had fun. And we were supposed to go home, but, you know, I don't remember if it was her or me. I think it was her. And just for personal reasons, we're not going to call her by her name, you know, just to disclose, because this person should not be on full blast. I still love them dearly, and I've said that in my last video. And, you know, I don't blame them for any of this. We're going to call them Luna. So, Luna, I think, was talking about going out with her one friend and, you know, having a hardcore binger all night. And me, as an addict back then, I always felt very excluded from things, especially things with like partying and drugs, which sounds odd. So I'm pretty sure I was the one who asked, like, hey, can I tag along? And Luna was like, yeah, sure, you know, what's that, whatever. So I'm pretty sure we went and we picked up more, and we went to a couple of bars. And the funny thing is that, like, I was literally doing shots and doing lines and smoking some weed and just did not feel anything. I was actually sober enough to drive everywhere. So eventually, you know, we met up with our one friend at one bar, and we ended up just going in the car and doing line after line after line. We drove out to the woods at one point, I remember, and we did a couple more lines. And then we went to another bar, met up with somebody, picked up more cocaine, and then this time I'm pretty sure was the time we sat out in the middle of nowhere and we just listened to music and we just kept doing lines. I stopped counting after 10, which to the normal person is like maybe too much, maybe too little, but in my brain, that was a lot. I actually remember, like, after I think it was like my 10th line, I sneezed, which, if you are doing cocaine, that's a lot of money that just came out of your fucking nose, you know? So I was very embarrassed, very upset, but I just blew my nose, and they laid me down another line. I did that. We talked a little bit longer, and I remember, I think her husband back then was flipping out, telling us we needed to get home. You know, she had to go home or something like that. I really don't remember. Maybe he already went to work. And I remember I went back to her place, and I don't think he was there. I don't think that was the night he was there. But we ended up snorting our last line. It was probably like 3 a.m., and we ended up going our separate directions. I, on the other hand, decided to drive home, and I sat in my room, and back then I think I smoked a lot more hookah. So it was like hookahing, you know, just cranking the fuck out. Like, if you have addiction, if you do cocaine, I don't know if you know how it is to do cocaine. You get very energetic, you get very talkative, you don't sleep, and you lose your appetite. So, you know, I had nothing to do. I didn't want to binge eat. I didn't want to watch anything. I had nobody to talk to because at that point, my family knew how bad I was struggling, and their option was to cut me out of their life. My boyfriend at the time, I think, was asleep or at work or something like that, so I literally was just in my room by myself. I remember I was listening to some pretty trippy, grungy, dark metal fucking, I don't know how to describe it, music. Like, shit I normally did not listen to, okay? And I remember I was smoking some more weed to kind of keep the buzz going, to actually counteract at the same time and make me go to bed. So finally, I just remember at one point after I like you smoked a little bit, it started getting really, really fucking hot. Okay, and like this was, I'm pretty sure it was April. So like April up here in the northern areas, um, is very fucking cold. And I remember I opened up all my windows and I had all my fans blowing because I actually had to blow the weed smoke out of my room back then. And it wasn't working, so eventually I just stripped nude. And I remember I sat back down in my chair listening to music. Um, all my lights were completely off. And the next thing I know is that, like, I must have blacked out. Um, and this was the scariest, weirdest thing. So that year, I didn't know, but my ex boyfriend actually passed away a few months before this went on, a few months before my addiction started, and he died to a drug overdose of heroin. He actually had a lot of problems with that, especially with his family, and I didn't know. So I had this wild ass dream about him, right? And I normally didn't dream about him because me and him were friends, but everything ended very nicely, and I didn't really think of him in any type of way after that. Actually, last time we talked, I told him like, "Hey, you probably should stop. You're gonna die," and that still haunts me to this day. It's actually pretty hard to think of this as what happened, but yeah, he overdosed. Well, at the time, I didn't know. So I was dreaming about him, and he came to me, and I don't even remember where we were. It was kind of like I astral project, and he kept telling me like, "Hey, you're gonna be okay, but you understand how I feel now." And I'm in the dream. I'm like, "What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?" Like I'm not a drug addict. Like this is fine. So then all of a sudden, after that, my mind kind of went blank after I seen him. Now, the only reason I woke up, and I believe it to this day, my windows just burst, like air all over the place, right? And my freaking cat came up and stuck her cold nose on my shin, and I jolted awake, okay? And I was like looking around, and everything looked so weird. Like, I didn't understand what happened to me. Um, I finally decided to get up and try to flick on my light though. And it was very hard for me to get up even and walk over to my light. Like I felt very cold. I felt very sick. I felt like I was like coming down with like a cold. At this point, I think it was like maybe 5 in the morning. But after my cat jolted me awake, I looked down at myself and realized I was nude. And the lighting at the time was kind of purplish outside, kind of bluish, like, that weird dawn color. And I remember, like, I looked down at my body after realizing I was nude, and my body kind of had, like, this purplish blue tint to it. And I was thinking, it's the lighting from outside, right? So, I finally tried to pull myself up, which was very hard. I felt very sore, very cold, very numb. I was very spacey, like everything was very cloudy to me. But I finally was able to, like, basically, like, kind of, like, waddle my way over while holding on to stuff to keep myself from toppling over. And I flicked on my light. Now, to my horror, I walked over to my mirror. I had this really long vanity. I still have this vanity. It was like a body mirror. I looked at my body. You could see my veins. They were very blue. My skin tone was like a bluish, purplish, gray color, which, I am a pale person, but, I wasn't that pale. Like, I knew something was wrong. I also scarily enough, noticed that when I finally got to my face, my eyes looked gray and dead. I actually had blood coming out of the corners of my eyes. I got a nosebleed, and I never get nosebleeds. Like, I've never really had a nosebleed besides, like, the time I got pierced, or I pierced myself. And then I noticed that, like, I think it was my right ear was bleeding the whole way down. And, you know, at that point, I had to sit down and kind of think, and I was like, I fucking overdosed. There's no other explanation why I'm this color, why I feel this weird, why I had that dream. Like, I was probably almost dead for a few minutes. And still to this day, I believe that my ex did come to me in my dreams and kind of woke me up because he was watching over me all this time. That, in a way, I stole his energy after he died, and I didn't even know it. And the addiction that coursed through him started to course through me. And he was just trying to show me where my life would lead if I didn't stop, and if I didn't get help, and if I didn't do stuff. I went back to sleep for about an hour. I did toss and turn a bit after that. I didn't know what to think. I was kind of brain dead, but I knew I had school again the next morning, and I had to be up by like 7 o'clock or so. And I remember on my way to school, I kept thinking, like, maybe I should calm down, maybe I shouldn't do this ever again, like, maybe I should just do it socially, maybe I should just do it once in a while. And my friend messaged me again, Luna, and was like, hey, you feeling up to doing it again? I know we had a crazy night last night, but, like, do you want to do it again? And my fucking dumbassery said yes. After I goddamn overdosed, I said yes. And I went out and I did it again, and this was a reoccurring thing until about July. Even after me and my boyfriend at that time broke up, and even after I got back with my now husband, and I lied to him many of times, and I think I recently told him that I did lie to him about doing coke and saying I wasn't when I did. It kind of haunts me because I did block it out for so long. I never thought of myself to have an overdose story. I didn't want to have an overdose story. But, fast forward months later. It was about July, and I don't know what it was, but I think I did remember that dream, or something about my ex just reminded me. Like, he was a very artistic person. I kind of figured he'd be very happy to hear that, hey, like, I did that thing. I finally went into cosmetology. I finally got my license. Like, you're going to be so proud of me. And, how are you doing? Like, how are you doing out in California? Because you moved out there for your job. Like, how are you doing? And I remember I got on Facebook, searched his frickin' name, and I saw all the posts that he died in January of 2017 to a drug overdose. And back then I still remembered the overdose. Maybe not as clearly. I do remember him as it, but after watching a Verbs and Altars video, I kind of like had that memory come back to me that, I really do believe I held his energy, and he really did help me through that. That he really did was trying to show me his pain, and that I carried on his energy. And when I found out he died, like, I bawled my eyes out. I really did. I felt so bad. I felt like, I wish I could have been there for you. I knew you were struggling all these years, like, and then I looked at myself, and, even though we were about to graduate, we kind of dwindled out of doing drugs together because we knew it was coming to an end anyways. But I kind of looked at inward with myself, and I said, do I just want to be another body gone? Do I want to be this sad story to one of my friends? Or, even just for myself, like, is life really that bad that I don't want to live for it? And after that, I decided to get clean from harsh drugs. I went through tons of withdrawals until about 2019. I ended up dabbling in some alcoholism. I still smoked weed habitually, which I still do from time to time just to help with a lot of my mental illnesses and my anorexia. But I think if it wasn't for his death, and it wasn't for the time of events that went on, I probably never would have gotten clean. And I probably would have been, back then I was about 107 as my lowest weight. I probably would have been 90 some pounds and dying and going lower if I didn't stop. I'm only talking about the story because some people don't understand what an overdose is, and I really didn't understand what it was either. It is a very harsh subject that I hold dearly to myself, and that I remind myself when I'm feeling low or I feel like relapsing all the time where I was. Because I am nowhere in any form there ever again. I really wanted to share my story with you guys. I probably did miss out some pieces of it, just because drug addiction is something that kills many of people in the United States, all over the world nowadays. And it is something very real that a lot of people, when they overdose, sometimes don't live. And I'm here to live to tell you guys that, they think of overdosing as like, overdosing on fentanyl or Xanax or um, heroin, meth. No one talks about cocaine. Cocaine's just as harsh. Like you can't overdose from weed unless like you smoke or eat like I think double your body weight. So, and you can drink yourself to death too. That's another addiction. I just wanted to let you guys know that coke is no joke. I could have hurt my heart, which I probably did. Now that I'm not consecutively smoking weed, I feel it going rapidly like crazy, and it's not anxiety. So I probably did damage my heart, and I probably am going to have a lot of medical problems with my heart in the future. I also have a lot of memory problems when I used to have a very insanely sharp memory. I used to have a photographic memory, and it's not as vivid or clear as it used to be since I did those drugs before. But I'm not gonna end this on a horrible note. This really did wake me up, and I really hope it explains and wakes some other people up that some people they go through drug addiction. Even the ways that they go through it, it's a little bit insane sounding, but please hear them out. If your friend is overdosing, I didn't have anybody. I never went to rehab. I never went to the hospital. I never went to a doctor. And now that I think about it, like, that's so stupid. Like, I wish I had a friend that was there that if you even suspect that your friend is struggling with a drug addiction or an eating disorder or something, please talk to them. Please make them think they're worth and they need the help. Even if they're not gonna, they are eventually gonna have to choose it for themselves. You can't force anybody, but please express your love and concern for them because you don't know how much that's actually gonna help them. You know, People going to rehab and people going to the hospital and calling 911, they are overdosing. It's not shameful, it's who cares what the outside world fucking thinks of you. As long as you're fucking alive, that's what matters. Because if I don't know, I still don't know, I am blessed to this day about whatever happened that night, that I am still alive, still walking without any problems. Like I probably do have problems, but like I can still walk, I can still think, I can still work. I didn't have too much damage to myself, and I am ever so grateful that whatever the fuck was watching over me, whatever the hell blessed me, even if it was my ex's energy in past life, was there for me. I am so happy they made me alive, made me realize, what I was doing to myself. And sometimes people just need help. Sometimes people don't understand how bad they're getting because obviously I didn't understand how bad I was getting. Hey, Rory. There's a kitty. Hi. This was a very heavy story, and I hate to end it on a horrible note. So here's a cat. This is Rory. Say hi. But I'm really grateful for you guys for listening and making this possible. I never thought I would honestly acquire a following or at least get so many people that were interested in what I'm talking about, especially for something that I feel so deeply for and definitely lived through. I really appreciate you guys checking this out. Maybe it'll help someone someday, and I never just, like I said, you never know, and you never know who it's going to happen to, and you never know if it's going to happen to you. I wanted to thank also Verbs and Altars for bringing back a memory I did kind of cloud away. I wanted to thank them for making it so possible for me to actually kind of sit here and think, you know what? I'm going to talk about my life and I'm going to bring awareness to everybody. um, if you have any stories or anything you want to share or any questions, feel free to comment them below. Like I said, I imagine, like always in my videos, I probably left out a lot. But yeah, this was a pretty heavy one. And maybe not as extreme as the last one. Definitely one that needed to be talked about in this series and journeys. Alright, like I said, I'm definitely going to be making more videos, and I have tons and tons of more ideas, and, your guys' questions help me a lot. I feel like there's a lot that can be addressed, and this probably isn't going to be the last time you hear from me. I'm very grateful to have so many awesome people, and so many people that get it, tune in. I will never let you down, and I will never lie to you guys about it. Alright. Oh. Just relax. Stop thinking about the negative times and the negative thoughts, even if it was good to talk about your feelings and good to remember these things sometimes. You're on a new chapter. You have a new day and a new life. Tomorrow is another new day. So yeah, now you can click off and go scroll through some of your social media. Maybe go watch some TikToks. Maybe go play with your flowers or your cats. I gotta go feed the cats here. Yeah, definitely. You'll hear guys will hear from me, hopefully in my own apartment next time. And again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know this is so lame, but thank you guys so much. Oh god, if Verbs and Altars do that. Okay, I'm just yammering. But anyways, thank you guys again for watching this, and I really appreciate it, and I'm really happy to see what you guys thought about it and see your guys' comments. I also wanted to disclaim that, I'm actually not looking for any sympathy with these types of videos. I know it could sound like I'm looking for someone's sympathy or empathy, or care. Honestly, I'm not, but I still do appreciate it when you guys, you feel for me. But I'm just here to, once again, educate, let the world know about my stupid decisions, and what it could probably do for you, and just warn you guys about what it potentially becomes. Alright. Again, all smiles. Go play with some flowers, go play with your cats, go play with your dogs, your animals, whatever it is. If you have a hedgehog, that's freaking awesome. Go enjoy the rain. Go listen to your favorite happy song. Go color your hair. Just something. Okay? I'm definitely will be back. And I hope you guys all hang tight. If you ever need anybody, all my handles are up on my YouTube. Probably going to be in the description as well. But if you need help, need someone to talk to, I am always here. You can always DM me. I might not get back to you ASAP, but I do try to make it a priority to get back to you guys, because I am here to help heal and help the world. Alright. Well, I hope you guys have a lovely day and a lovely evening or a lovely morning wherever you are. Love you guys.